Hey everyone, Armin from Armin here. Please have a look at the length of this video and see how long it is. If you don't have the time to watch it, don't watch it now. Watch it later. But if you have the time, I'm here today to answer a lot of questions that I've already answered before, but I see more and more people keep asking that, have been asking that. Let's dive in without wasting your time. I'm not going to show on the screen much stuff, it's just your questions. I'm going to read the questions and I'm going to answer them. So if you want to be busy with some other activity and only put on your headphones and listen to what I say, do that. There's nothing really going to be shared on the screen other than that. And there are a few thread posts on the Pimax forum that was brought to my attention by a friend of mine. She said, hey, I just saw these things and people are still wondering about this thing. Maybe it's a good idea that you reply to them. And I said, okay, I'll just make a video because replying to them with text is just so much work for me to write the sentences. Oh my God. And video is much easier for me and you can just listen to it. Transition, there we go. I just searched for my name after 1st of May of 2021 to see if there is any post that mentions me. I'm going to reply. If there is no mention of me, then it's not for me. Radio silence for 4 months and counting. SweViver and Armanella missing in action. Hadron says, it was mentioned in another discussion, but I find it so worrisome that I opened a dedicated thread. For 4 months now, since mid-April, both SweViver and Armanella have not posted anything, especially not about Pimax experience. The last post did not indicate any longer absence. That's correct. My understanding is that PE is a crucial component that makes Pimax headsets usable for noobs like me. Oh, thanks. That's a very nice compliment. Thank you. And it showed great potential. Thanks. But is far from finished. Yeah, the final thing, the actual design I had for it was very simple. It's not a second Pi tool. It's just in VR. You could have it like that, which it was, but the idea was that everything is automatic. But yeah, it is far from finished. Well, thank you so much for that post. It's on August of 20th. With, I don't know what this is, 195 people saw it. I'm going to answer that question just momentarily. I'm going to go through it because I think a few other people also asked the same thing or something. Ace Gamer says, I don't know what's going on with them at the moment, but PE is already in a very good state and there is absolutely no reason for you to not have fired up your 8KX because of waiting for it to get more polished. Thanks Ace Gamer for that. The big thing that everyone is waiting on from PE is the IPD guide, but it is already in a very good state for use as it stands now. IPD was 80% done back in end of April. It was already 80% done, but then I'll tell you what happened and then you get the idea of, you get the rest of it, why, of course, you don't have it yet. I agree that not hearing anything from either of them after all of this time is concerning, but don't let that keep you from using the 8KX. Now you're wasting valuable time. If you purchased 8KX, which is really expensive piece of headset, use the Pimax experience as you have it. By the way, Pimax experience is or has been hosted by Pimax itself. There was a whole discussion about all of these things, why it's no longer on my website and all of that, but we'll get to that later. In this post, Pimax Quora wrote, new updates are coming to the popular Pimax server. Please follow the thread if you don't wish to miss any of latest updates. I keep checking. Let's have a look at what that post is because I don't know about it. Oh, okay. So the developers of Pimax developers are actually working on the Pimax experience. All right, it's time to tell you what happened. In short, Pimax told me that they don't want me to work on it. They want the Pimax developers, or internally, they want to continue working on it. The last state I left it was with the IPD adjustment in there, but it didn't work properly. Everything I did just didn't work because either PyTool or firmware, they just don't really set the IPD properly. It keeps jagging the screen back and forth. It was bad. So I communicated with them. That was back in April. I've given the same reply to others I've put it on my Patreon page as well. There's a lot of P in that sentence. On my Patreon page, you see the post, you see the part, you see this short sentences about, yeah, so I'm no longer working on Pimax experience internally. They've told me they're working on it internally. Okay, let's continue with the rest. They said that they're going to work on some stuff, so they're going to take care of everything themselves in-house. That's what they wanted, and they didn't want to contract me or anything either. They wanted me to work on it for them for free, mind you that, but they didn't want to contract me to actually as a service that I provide to them or Artarmin provides to them. It is a bit weird. I know SweViver had a baby recently, so that might be why he has not been active. Armanella, on the other hand, not sure. Weird. Strider says I'm not all that surprised. As far as I can tell, Arnel has been working on PE for free. That's correct. In other words, he hasn't been paid for the work that he has done and is not going to be paid for the work that he is doing. That's correct. On top of that, he's got pretty stamped on the profiles bit, and it wouldn't surprise me a bit if his enthusiasm has waned considerably. I don't know what this word is yet. Okay, considerably. My bet is that it's at a stage that either Pimax can pay him or he will take his sweet time. Can't say as that I blame him. I'm sorry, I cannot read the sentences and translate them or create the meanings immediately. It takes me time. So I'm reading them in a broken way. But you're completely right. This what Strider has said. Yeah, that's right. Then add Pimax to the equation. They seem to be doing absolutely nothing on improving their end of the software. I suppose, I don't know. If I were Armanella, I would be onto other projects by now. That's exactly what I did. If Pimax doesn't care, why should he? Yeah, that's what I did. I moved into my other projects. I mean, some of you already know that I was working on my own game. It's still ongoing, but a bit relaxing time in the summertime for me. Also, back in May, I have other clients that actually pay me to provide my services. So I'm doing those. SweViver, on the other hand, is being paid. I believe he was the one who actually promised us an IPD tool. However, between his new child and the fact that Pimax has a customer relations nightmare and with the IPD, his efforts have likely been redirected to sales and marketing in other countries, I assume as well. I think so. This guy, he seems to be right on the dot. For me, he was. For the part that was about me, he was. And I assume for the rest of it, he is also. The customer relations nightmare is that it seems that Pimax is lying about their IPD settings and their flagship. Okay, these are not questions, these are about IPD. I would say don't get your hopes up on any updates. Use what Armanella and SweViver did pretty good job already. Thank you so much, Strider, for your compliments to both of us. I appreciate that very much. I read this one, no questions. Is not an official product from Pimax. That's a very tricky one because legally it is, but in words they used to say that it's not, and then in 2021, I should say, they started saying that yes, it is, and they included it in PyTool so that you can actually download the latest from PyTool. In other words, if you want the latest, just check PyTool. I suppose, I don't know, I haven't used Pimax for so long now. I mainly use my Valve Index and Oculus and even Windows mixed reality headsets that I have for my development and work. I haven't launched Pimax. And Morcelli says, all this could be fixed by making open source as it was promised. Yeah, I remember that in 2017 we were promised, 2018 we were promised different things from Pimax. Did you know that I haven't even received my Kickstarter headset stuff yet? How do you say? I received the headset, I received the KD mask, nothing else. And I never chose to upgrade. I just wanted to, hey, you promised this to me, you're going to deliver it, great, deliver it. But it hasn't been, and they don't respond to me. So yeah, there you have it, promises. It doesn't matter if it's still rough, the community can do the dirty work as well. Just for record, Python was also promised to be open source. Really? I didn't know. Oh, wow. Okay, questions. Guys, questions about... Strader said, I need to point out that I do not know Armanella and I'm doing some assuming and reading between the lines. For anyone who doesn't know, there's a saying in the US and possibly elsewhere that when you're assuming something, you make an ass out of you and me. Note that the forum doesn't allow putting the second S in there without the space. I see. That's why you put the space. In other words, you can get into a lot of trouble assuming things like I'm doing here. No, you were completely right about me. Mirage says, believe it or not, for months or so is not a lot of time in the life of a software developer as capable and busy as Armanella and SweViver. Thank you so much. That's valid. Thanks. Pymax experience shows both these two are in that category of people who can put their heads down on a major project and not look up until it's done. That's how I am actually with my other projects. I barely communicate with people on Patreon about how anything is going. Maybe once a month I updated them and told them, here's some update. There's another update, of course, for my patrons for the new year, and they're gonna know what's going to happen and everything, but that's just for my patrons. You'd think it would be, wouldn't you? Oh, I don't know what this is now. I don't know. This isn't entirely true. PE was created and released by SweViver by himself while he was an employee of Pimax. That's correct. As such, Pimax owns PE. That's correct. Armanella came on and volunteered his assistance to SweViver much later, and he has been instrumental in developing it since. That's also correct. Hey, this one is finished. Next one, you're getting to finally have official confirmation that PE development is scrapped. I don't know that. That's 20 days ago. Hey, how about that? I don't know that. Are essentially being combined into single. This is the Pimax COO telling you that this is the case. It's your choice to believe it or not believe it. Here, it's disappearing, but not surprising. It was pretty obvious that something was up, and I stopped communicating about it months ago. Getting to find out. Indeed, it was evident they knew in May or June. May was Armin's last visit to the forum. That sounds about right. SweViver started the project, though not Armin. Yes. I'm assuming that it ended up being money things. SweViver and Armin expected to be paid for their efforts. Is there more? Yeah. I'm assuming that it ended up being a money thing. SweViver and Armin expect to be paid for their efforts. Expected our continuation of efforts. Yes, continuation of efforts, not the one that was done before. That one I did it for the people. I didn't do it for Pimax. And I don't know about SweViver. I just can tell you about myself. Efforts and probably could not agree with Pimax. Pimax just chose to not work with me. Which is a pity because it actually was a very helpful tool, and I dare to suspect that Pimax on its own would never have implemented a good UI and features. Of course, well, now they have the code. I mean, if they want to, they can just continue working on that code if they want to. If they don't want to, they don't. But let me put it this way for you. The way communication between PE and PyTool was terrible. PyTool, everything that PE did was not directly communicating with the firmware. It was done through PyTool. So you needed to have a PyTool to do that. So the idea of having PyTool and PE as one app was already something I mentioned in 2020. I said, hey, why don't we just do that? Why do we have to do this? And they told me, no, PyTool developers have to do their thing, and you guys are doing this on your own. It's not a Pimax product. But then later, this became acknowledged that this is a Pimax product. So now they're going to actually combine them. That's a good path to take, and doing it right, of course. But they're developers. Of course, they can do it right. I mean, you see, they've created PyTool. They've created all this stuff. So they're very good at what they do. Read on Martin did disclose Armin clean up a messy code. Yes. Oh, that never ended. Here, considering how stretched the dev team is, they should have subcontracted Armanella, as PyTool release has also stalled considerably, and last release info on the PyTool simply. Yeah, they just didn't want to work with me. They wanted to work with me. It's not. I'm sorry. If I said they didn't want to work with me, that's not correct. They told me that they don't want to pay me, but they do want my services. They want Armin or Art Armin's services. How weird is it that Armanella totally vanished from the forums? I was asked not to come to the forums, and this was a verbal request. Even if he's isn't developing for Pimax anymore, he's still a Pimax user. No, actually, I'm not. The product sucks so bad I can't really play any games with it properly anymore. Unless something happened that is so bad it caused him to sell his headsets and quit Pimax as a customer as well. I did quit Pimax as a customer, yes. I'm still waiting for them to send me what they promised, but yeah. Helio Search, hello. He's such a nice moderator. He has done so much for the people. From what I remember, was it Dan or Don? Anyway, yes, I find his complete departure as usual, as well as we have had other people stick around for quite some time, after whom we would have thought, after selling off due to HMD issues and treatment, would have moved on soon. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that sentence. No, I was a great contributor here, and oh, thank you. So are you. Armin was a great contributor here, and his completely abrupt departure, last seen logged on in May, though I can understand he may just found it better to walk away. After all, he had added value to not getting the respect he was due. Had Pimax been smart, they would have sought to hire him onto the team. I admire what you have written here. Helios, thank you so much for what you've written here. It means a lot to me. This is such a wonderfully, such a respectful way of writing sentence to me, but not to me. About me. That's the right word. About me. Thank you so much. And so are you. You and many others. I remember Dr. Wilkin. I remember Drow Hunter, Strider, and a lot of other names that I've just read. Ace Gamer, the one with the Jean-Luc Picard face. I never forget that. Of course, it's Jean-Luc Picard's face. Uh, sorry, I mean, never mind. What was I saying? Thanks. Let's continue. But this is similar to, because I see here, I'm gonna just read the whole thing now. But this is similar to when a forum member had helped to connect Pimax to a programmer dev who had deep knowledge in Steam VR HMD renderer, because I also have that, but I assume it's talking about someone else when you say similar to when a forum member. I don't know. Unfortunately, this fellow had been offering a fair bit of free info discussions. He was pumped with Pimax maybe hiring him on to help solve some issues they were having in those early days. Instead, they just participated in some free discussions incognito and never discussed hiring him. In fairness, it was dumb for the fellow to give so much free info to ensure if they wanted his help to hire or commission him to solve the issue they were having. So maybe I'm going to share too much. No, I I did what I wanted to do for the community. I just wanted to be clear. I never did it for Pimax or for Pimax to hire me. It was Pimax it was Pimax official who mentioned, hey, maybe we can do something. And the keyword here is maybe. It's not saying we definitely are going to do something. They say, maybe we can do something. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. It's not a promise. That's not a promise. And it was my choice to continue providing to people, not the company. But then the problem arose when, for 3 months, from January, February, and March, I kept asking for a fix on the firmware for the IPD, and I got nothing in return. That's just wasting my time. So since December, I worked on IPD, but I never got anything. So end of April, 80% of the IPD was done. What's the remaining 20%? It had to be fixed on the firmware side for PE for the branch on the PE that I was working on IPD, because I work on different branches. Those of you who are developers and use either SVN from the past or Git nowadays or anything like that, you know that you create feature branches and everything is going in parallel. It's just when the feature is merged into development, that's when you can go test and release it. That's how I work. Even though if I do projects by myself, I still do it that way because it's easier for me to, fix issues and trace back issues. It's really easy. That's a typical way of doing development, and that's how I did it for Pimax experience as well. So, did I share too much? I don't know. I barely ever shared anything with them. I mainly made requests for them, and I asked them to actually provide me with a solution or a fix for them. But as most of you know, PyTool updates well, there were PyTool updates. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Where was it? Yeah, this one. I'm concerned as it has led us to having PyTool and February releases stalled along with the Pimax controller development. Did it really? I thought the controller was going because the last time I remember, I even created a never mind. So in the Pimax experience, when you have a Pimax controller, you actually see the Pimax controllers in your hands, not the default Valve Index or the Vive wand or any of that. But never mind. Not that they seem to be shipping all that well. While they pull development to focus on the 12K project. What's a 12K project? I don't know. We see other things set aside or finished after all this issue with PyTool 273 and firmware you would expect. Okay, these are PyTool stuff not related to me, and I have been so away from all of this, I don't know anymore. People, especially newcomers, are basically semi-bricking their heads. Is that what happened? Headsets brick? This. Instead, he just found it better to walk away. After all, he had value, not getting the respect he was due. Okay, I don't see my name here anymore, so I'm going to go to the next one. How long has it taken? I have to edit it a lot. This one says firmware issues. This is 12 days ago. Wow, 12 days ago. Stop releasing multiple firmwares with the same firmware number version. Is that what's happening now? Wow. Please ensure there are actual release notes that match the quality that Armanella and SweViver were doing with the now defunct Pimax experience. Okay, let's search for my name here. There is any, it's just one. Let's go to the next one. Problems with Steam VR after install. Also, we need an update and release in April. Maybe Armanella can update. Yeah, I haven't. Oh, and the IPD wizard, they say what's coming. Yeah, I don't know. So I already told you the answer. I think that should be enough for these parts. The source sense cancelled. I didn't know that. Pimax. Oh, there's a thing here. First, let's have a look at that. I recently updated the case firmware to whatever that is, and PyTool to this. I had to use the standalone PyTool installer because updating from the inside PyTool gave me lots of errors. Sure. When I reinstalled PyTool, it overrode PE, which I thought was going to be fixed, but never mind. So I reinstalled PE, which, as far as I know, current version came okay, looked normal. The games that I had implemented manually were still there, as were the PE profiles I had created. That's great. That's really good. Always make a backup of your profiles. I noticed that in the left panel, the settings were all set to low and FOV control was disabled. This actually happens when there is a miscommunication between PyTool and PE. Check if PyTool is running. PyTool was running, yeah. Just so you know, it always happens when there is a problem between PyTool and Pimax experiences communication. So that part, if anything goes wrong, Pimax experience represents what PyTool is doing in a different way, in a more easier to change within VR way for you. So yeah, then there's some communication with Armanella, like I see. Hopefully Armanella can post a status update on the project. So this one, source is cancelled. I didn't know it. As Arnel bailed, hasn't been on the forum since last April, so it's another dead project. Wireless module seems to have completely vaporized. Oh my god, really? Please release an update that actually creates the app. Okay, this is nothing really, it's not really a question for me, so I'm not going to read these things. I think the Sense controller, as the title says, is apparently gone. But again, read the content. Don't just rely on what I'm looking at. I'm just gazing to see if I see my name anywhere, or this search thing is never working really. Ah, there's another one. No, that's Quora. And this post is kind of old, but clock profiles are off, so I don't think I can actually give you any answer on this one. They're all being handled by Pimax. And by the way, cloud profiles that I was maintaining, they don't have that. They don't have the code. They don't have the data. None of that. That's all gone. Pimax wants to create their own cloud profile. They have to do it themselves. So if you want to contribute to that, it's going to be with Pimax itself. Any update when the firmware will release any of the Pimax experience? I'm going to skip that because I think I've already answered the main questions. It was repetitive, as I say. Hopefully, Armin and SweViver can post a status update on their project. I know we have all been waiting since April 2021. That's release. Now you know. And I'm sorry that you didn't receive anything from Pimax. Well, actually, I say I'm sorry. It's just me being polite. But the truth is that I am... No. All right, let's see. I don't know if I should keep going down. How long this video has been is very important. My links were to my server and SweViver's backup server, just as a backup. But ever since Pimax said they are taking care of everything, you have to use the Pimax's download links for PE. IPD settings and lens position on Pimax headset. Anyway, this topic was about for what it's worth, although of course they're being busy is totally understandable. I too hope they know we like hearing from them. Thank you so much, Mirage. I appreciate you saying that. Pimax engineers need to add FSR as an upsampling option in Pi2. I think it was, oh yeah. That's one of the problems. See, in the past I wanted to, you know what? Never mind. Let's read the question first. This would be a natural, yes, and would allow us to enable it in with games easily. I'm thinking driver level. However, in the meantime, Armanella could add FSR as an option to my experience. Yeah, if I had access, if I could develop on it, and I'm not going to read this. You may need to ping Armin to be heard. What about? I think here, nice one. Thanks for. Oh, Pyre's just lost force emotion, smoothing always on with. Maybe this can be added as an advanced toggle in PE if it's okay with yeah, that's a very good one. Dr. Vulcan, it's nice to see your activity again. When is that? May 27th. Yeah, that's from a very long time ago. Oh, this one is 30th. Is it June? Yeah, okay. Let's go to the next one. That would be a question for Armin. However, you mean in okay, let's see what the question is. There's a question, guys. There's a question. As the D-Star has said, no, this is to this one. The Pi X software supports RTX DLSS as a default feature. I just wonder if the Radeon version of it will be available in the Pi Experience software. I can tell you what the plan was in the past. Okay, next question, hand tracking module with DCS World. You guys may have ideas about how it could be done. Oh, hand tracking, that's the Ultra Leap. Yeah, it's not something I'm going to comment on. All right, so that's about it. I'm going to end this video now. It's been very long. Thank you so much for listening and staying with me and going through all the questions with me. I do appreciate it. If there is any question that I missed, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. The comment section below is public. One last thing, stay healthy, don't get sick, be careful, keep yourself warm, and yeah, take care of one another. I'll see you next time, or you'll see me next time.